Good morning, dear all. Welcome to Sunya Talks. Today is Sunday, and thus we continue our discussion on Ekotara Agama. So, Ekotara Agama, we have started translating this, and this is ever happening for the very first time, at least in India. So, thanks to the Sunyati International Foundation translation team for taking up this as a challenge and coming up with these translations. We really are thankful for the great efforts they are taking and working behind the scenes. So, today with me is Dr. Harman. Harman is a physiotherapist and he will be reading our suttas today for Ekotara Agama. Welcome, Harman. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Ruchama.
Before we start our discussion on suttas, let's start our red belt Sunya practice. Reverse countdown from 9 to 0.
Yes.
So let's continue reading today's sutra.
Yeah. So, Ekotara Āgamas has been translated from Sanskrit to Chinese by Gautama Sanghateva during the Kushan Empire. And thanks to the SIF translation department, now it is being translated from Chinese to English and from English to various other languages under the guidance of Dr. Lem. And we are really grateful for it. So, we will be studying EA 24.3 today, Dharma King. Okay. Thus have I heard. One time, the Buddha was dwelling in the Nigrodh Arama park of the Sakyas, together with a great assembly of 500 bhikshus. At that time, several thousand prominent members of the Shakya clan came to where the Bhagwan was. Upon arrival, they bowed their head at his feet and sat to one side. The Sakyas addressed the Bhagwan. You should now become the king and rule this country. Our lineage will then be immortal, and the position of Chakravartin king will not be cut off with you. Have you not renounced, you would have become a Chakravartin king, ruling the four continents with 1,000 sons. Our Shakya name would have spread far and wide, known for producing a Chakravartin. Therefore, Bhagwan, you should rule as king and not let the royal lineage die. And the Bhagwan replied, I am indeed a king now, a Dharma king. Let me ask you, Sakyas, what are the seven treasures and 1,000 brave sons of a Chakravartin? Is this Trisyas? Is this Trisahasa Mahasahasra Lokdhatu? I am the most honored and supreme, unequaled. I possess the seven treasures of enlightenment, factors, and have countless thousands of uh, Shravaka disciples as retune. Then the Bhagwan spoke this verse. What is the use of this worldly status? Gained, it will surely be lost again. My position is supreme, without end or beginning, cannot be taken by any force. This is the supreme of all supreme. The Buddha's immeasurable path leaves no trace. Who can follow such a path? Therefore, O Gautamas, seek skillful means to attain the Dharma king status. Thus, Sakyas should you learn. When the Sakyas heard what the Buddha said, they followed it with joy.
Very short
Such,
and straightforward sutra, Harman. Here,
yeah,
the discussion is beginning with Shakyan's requesting Tathagat to rule the kingdom, because he was endowed with the 32 bodily signs, and he was very able, and Shakyans believed that to be true. But instead of becoming Chakravartin Raja Samrat, Buddha, no, because he has realized and he has achieved the enlightenment, that this position and the worldly status, as in the last verses, the Gatha at the end is expounding to us. Buddha is saying that what is the use of such worldly status? Whatever is gained, it will surely be lost again. And in our life, we are so much struggling for the title, and in current world, so many things happens for that entitlement, for that position, for that recognition. And but now, when Buddha is telling and expounding that he has so much faith, like my position is supreme, we could tell, and cannot be taken by any force. If we go back to again first lines, he's not talking about the status. Mostly when we open our eyes since the morning, we are looking outward. So rather than perceiving uh, how I should be, but we pursue and look into us with the perception of what others are seeing in us. So we lose that chance of creativity. What what
yeah,
what we can offer, but
mhm,
we see outwardly what we can gain and what is the exchange here. So there is no end or beginning, he is saying, because this position is supreme, and it cannot be taken by any force. And this is the supreme of all supremes, the Thagat, the Sama Sambhuti, Anuttar Samak Sambhuti he has achieved, which is uh, like so highest. And the Buddha's immeasurable path, like we were discussing yesterday in Sunya session, if we
mhm,
divide any number with the Sunya, it leads to infinite. So, and like yesterday we were discussing with Dr. Lim, he emphasized on taking so much efforts that uh, it has to become a reality, not going
yeah,
to the extent, but just performing your duty. So I think so when we are talking about eightfold path and the eight factors of noble eightfold path, we need to take that efforts and take strive so that it becomes the immeasurable. So that cannot be counted. And when we do that, it will leave no stress who can follow such a path. Now the path has no footprints, I guess, then how to follow this path. But Buddha has
yes,
given us direct and showed us the way of noble eightfold path. If we can walk on that, then
mhm,
anyone can achieve, and everybody has seeds of being a Buddha. And therefore, O Gautama's Sakyans seek skillful means to attain the Dharma king's state. So he is proclaiming he is a king, but he is saying that I am a Dharma king.
Dharma King.
Beautiful title, right?
Yeah, yeah, very
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
and
nice.
he didn't give us just a path; he gave us an expressway.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Also, our series, Manifestation series, Dr. Rajesh Savera also showed us and given the expressway also. So,
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Moving on, EA 24.4, the fingernail. Thus, I have heard one time the Buddha was staying at Nath Pandita's ashrama in Jetavana of Shravasti. At that time, a certain bhikshu approached the Bhagwan, bowed his head at his feet, and sat to one side. The bhikshu said to the Bhagwan, is there any form that is permanent, unchanging, and abides forever? And there are any and there any feelings, perceptions, formations, or consciousness? that are permanent, unchanging, and abide forever? The Bhagwan replied, Bhikshu, there is no form that is permanent, unchanging, and abide forever, nor are there any feelings, perceptions, formations, or consciousness that are permanent, unchanging, and abide forever. If there were such permanent forms, the noble life could not be descended. The same is true for feelings, perception, formations, and consciousness. It is precisely because no form is permanent that the noble life can be discerned to make an end of suffering. The same is true for feelings, perceptions, formations, and consciousness. Then the Bhagwan took a small amount of dirt on his fingernail and said to the bhikshu, What do you think, bhikshu? Do you see this dirt on my fingernail? The bhikshu replied, Yes, Bhagwan, I see it. The Buddha said, If even this small amount of form were permanent, the noble life could not be discredited to make an end of suffering. It is because no form is permanent that one can practice the noble life to make an end of suffering. Bhikshus, you should know that I was once a great king who ruled the four continents with the seven treasures: the wheel treasure, elephant treasure, horse treasure, jewel treasure, woman treasure, householder treasure, and commander treasure. Know this, bhikshus, as the Chakravartin king ruling the four continents, I possessed 84,000 divine elephants named Bhadravati. There were 84,000 jeweled carriers covered with lion skins and wolf pelts, all adorned with banners and canopies. I had 84,000 magnificent palaces rivaling the adobe of Devas and 84,000 dharma halls for teaching. My retinue included 84,000 celestial maidens and 84,000 jeweled thrones inlaid with gold, silver, and seven treasures. There were 84,000 exquisite garments of embroidered silk and 84,000 varieties of gourmet foods. I rode a magnificent white elephant named Bhadravati with six tusks plated in gold and silver, capable of flight, invisibility, and changing size. My divine horse, named Raja Hamsa, had a crimson mane and tail, moved without bodily motion, and possessed similar supernatural powers. Among my palaces, I dwell in the golden Suvarna, Suvarnaparbhasa Palace. I stayed in the golden Hall named Dharma Deshana. My golden jeweled chariot was called Vijayanta. One chief consort served me like a sister. Among all thrones, I sat upon one adorned with countless jewels. My celestial robes shone brilliantly, and my food tasted like ambrosia. Each dawn, 84,000 elephants would arrive, causing immense destruction outside the gates. Reflecting on this, I thought, what past merits brought me such power? I realized three virtues were responsible: generosity, dana, compassion, maitri, and mortal discipline, shila. Bhikshus, observe how all those conditioned things have completely vanished. Yet, even with such luxury, desire remain insatiable. True satisfaction comes only through noble virtue. Tell me, bhikshus, is such form permanent or impermanent? The bhikshus replied, Impermanent, Bhagwan. If they are impermanent and subject to change, could you regard them as this is mine? I am this is myself? The bhikshu replied, No, Bhagwan. Are feelings, perceptions, formation, consciousness permanent or impermanent? The bhikshus replied, Impermanent, Bhagwan. If they are impermanent and subject to change, could you regard them as this is mine, I am this is myself? The bhikshus replied, No, Bhagwan. Therefore, bhikshus, all form, whether past, future, or present, large or small, beautiful or ugly, far or near, should be seen with right wisdom as this is not mine, I am not this, this is not myself. The same applies to feelings, perceptions, formation, and consciousness. Thus, should a bhikshu regard the sense bases, become disenchanted with eye and form, disenchanted with eye consciousness, disenchanted with eye contact, and whatever feeling arise dependent on eye contact. The same applies to ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Being disenchanted, one becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, one is liberated. With liberation comes the knowledge. Birth is exhausted. The noble life has been lived. What was to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Having received this teaching, the bhikshu dwelt in solitude, practicing diligently. Thus this clansman, having gone forth home life, realizing for himself, birth is exhausted, the noble life has been lived, what was to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being, and that bhikshu became an arahant. When the bhikshus heard what the Buddha said, they followed it with joy. Very
Yeah.
beautiful sutra.
Again, it is talking about the having such an immense power.
Yeah,
It began with Panchaskanda, the Rupa, Vedana, Saudhya, Sanskar, and the Vigyan. So these five are ever changing, are not permanent, and are and this is prone to change. So and but we become so static, into the caught up in seeing what it is, and assuming that it taken as granted that form will be like this only. But with the age we see the changes in ourselves, like the feelings also are like clouds, ever changing, taking the different various shapes, and appearing, disappearing. The cycle goes on. So likewise, the perceptions we build and the labels we put on the things, because that is also changing, then the labels are also changing. Also when it comes to conditioning, because we are surrounded by the impermanence, and thus the conditions around us are also impermanent. So and same applies to the consciousness. With our understanding, with our experiences, with our realization, we develop certain kind states of mind and consciousness and thinking patterns. So these are not permanent. These are not unchanging. We must realize this. And when they are talking about all these five panchaskanda and aggregates are leading to suffering, causing the dukkha. Now, a beautiful analogy has come for the comparison of uh, dirt in a fingernail, and when it is compared with the mountain, then we can see the broader view and develop our perspective and build our thinking patterns around that. Then now Buddha is giving analogy of how powerful he was with all the seven treasures Buddha was carrying. And they were talking in abundant numbers, like 84,000 dharma halls, 84,000 elephants, 84,000 horses, and they have good name, also specialized name also given. So we must understand this when they are talking about the dharma halls. So that at the time the dharma was propagating, and the teaching methodologies, that practice of discussion like we are doing, that was so like the practice was huge, we can say, because the numbers are speaking here. But what made that king to have such a powerful treasures, the elephants and the strength and all? it goes back to, simple things which is immaterialistic. We can't materialize it. And three things are generosity, like dana, and then compassion, we call it maitri, and third one was the shila, practice of shila, the moral values. And when we are saying this, and if dana is given without any selfish motives, and surely Tathagata has done it, and that's why such a fruit and such a power he is enjoying currently. So when we are giving anything, we must keep this in mind, how one should give. And if one work around these three things, surely this wealth and prosperity is bound to come. There is no doubt in this. Also, with the perspective, if we develop, this is not me, and this I am not. Also, this is not
Not
myself,
myself.
because yeah, because this is ever changing, right? Even if we have such a strong clinging towards me, uh, the conditions will be like that. We need to lose that self, and that's how nature will work, and conditions will happen around us. So that is my understanding from this sutra. Harman, you can share your understanding also, or anything you want to discuss.
So at the last, when we read, "This is not mine, I am not this, this is not myself," we read the exact same thing yesterday in the Nikayas as well. So it's so beautiful that they have so much things in common, and how Buddha tells that the dirt in my fingernail, even if this much amount of thing was permanent, this noble life would not have been begun, because once I was a king with so much power, so much treasure, and just everything. I had everything, but since none of that was permanent, that is why I became the arahant. There was suffering because nothing was permanent, and that suffering leads to the noble life, and that noble life then leads to the end of suffering. So that is very beautiful how Buddha has told us that in today's sutra.
Right, and you mentioned it correctly. In Nikayas, also same thing has appeared. And when we were discussing with Dr. Lim yesterday, the same
Yeah,
thing. This is not me. This is not myself, and I am not this. Doctor, I asked him how he practices it, because we see he is beyond all this, recognition, name, and he is actually practicing it. So I really
yeah,
wonder, because eventually we are human beings, and we tend to have certain labels around us. We create our own identity, and we prefer us to be known in certain way. But with Dr. Lim, uh, it- the practice is really remarkable. So in response, he said we don't have to practice in going into the extremes. Having that
yes,
balance also, that thing of not going into extreme and seeing as it is, that was the main thing. So be in present moment, and do take immeasurable effort, so that it comes to it's bound, like we have studied in first sutta, that immeasurable path they are talking about. So these are the living testimonies we have, and we are really
yeah,
grateful to come across
yeah,
Dr. Lim and Dr. Rajesh Savera, because we see how much efforts they put into the practice also, and having that abundance also. And not only they are doing for like building and setting an example, but they are like bodhisattva who tries and helps other beings also to experience the same which they have experienced and realized.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, we have EA 24.5.1. So EA 24.5 is really long, so it has been divided into 24.5.1 and 24.5.2. So EA
Okay.
24.5.1, miraculous transformations. Thus have I heard. At one time, the Buddha was at the Bodhi tree in Magadha, having just attained enlightenment. At that time, the Bhagwan gave rise to this thought. I have now attained the exceedingly profound dharma, difficult to understand, difficult to realize, difficult to awaken to, difficult to comprehend. It is subtle, most wondrous, known only through the wisdom of the most refined insight, prajna. To whom should I first expound the dharma? Who should be able to understand the dharma that I have realized? Then the Tathagata again reflected. Arada Kalamas has faculties that are well matured. He should be the first to attain liberation, and has and he has long awaited the dharma I have realized. As soon as this thought arose, a deva appeared in the sky and informed the Bhagwan, saying, Radha Kalama passed away 7 days ago. At that time, the Bhagwan thought, how lamentable it is to reach the end of life without hearing my dharma. Had he heard it, he would surely have attained liberation. Then the Bhagwan once again contemplated, to whom should I first teach the dharma so that they may attain liberation? Udraka Ramaputra should be the next to attain liberation. I should teach him. Upon hearing my dharma, he would be the first to achieve release, moksha. As the Tathagata had this thought, a deva from the sky spoke, saying, last night at midnight he passed away. Then the Bhagwan again reflected, alas, how unfortunate for Udraka Ramaputra. He passed away without hearing my dharma. Had he heard it, he would have attained nirvana. At that time, the Bhagwan again gave rise to this thought, who should first hear the dharma and thereby attain liberation? Then the Tathagata further reflected, the Pancha Bhikshu have greatly supported me. From the beginning of my renunciation, they followed after me faithfully. The Bhagwan again contemplated, where now where where now are the 5 bhikshus? Then, using the Divya Chakula, divine eyes, he observed the 5 bhikshus and saw that they were residing in the Rishipatra Mrigadava, the deer park of the sages at Varanasi. I shall now go to them first and expound the Dharma. Upon hearing it, they shall attain liberation. At that time, Bhagwan gazed steadily at the Bodhi tree for 7 days without once blinking his eyes. Then the Tathagata uttered this Gatha. Here, at this very seat where I sit, I have passed through the suffering of samsara. Now, wielding the axe of prajna, I have forever cut the roots and seed of delusion. The Deva Raja have come here, along with all the Mara and their retinues. Through Upaya, they too were subdued and made to wear the crown of Vimukti. Now, beneath this tree, I sit upon the Vajra Asana, having realized Sarva, Sarva
Nine.
Dhyana, Sarva Dhyana. I have attained Anna Avrayana Jnana, unobstructed wisdom. Here I sit beneath this tree, beholding the suffering of samsara. I have eradicated the root of death. Old age and sickness shall never return. Having spoken this verse, Bhagwan rose from his seat and set out towards Varanasi. The Brahmana Upavikas saw from afar the Bhagwan's radiance from outshining the sun and moon. He asked, O Shramana Gautama, who is your teacher? Under whom have you renounced? What doctrine do you profess? Where do you come from? Where are you going? At that time, Bhagwan turned towards the Brahmana and spoke this gatha. The Bhagwan replied in verse, I have become an arhat, the most unsurpassed in the world. Among devas and human beings, I now stand supreme. I have no acharya, nor is there anyone equal to me. Alone and anuttara, without superior, cool and serene, no longer to be stirred. Now I shall turn to the Dharma Chakra and proceed to the land of Kashi. Now, with this Amrita medicine, I shall open the eyes of those blinded in darkness. In the land of Varanasi, in the kingdom of Kashi, where the five bhikshus dwell, I wish to expound the subtle and wondrous dharma, so they may swiftly realize the path and attain asrava kashya jhana, knowledge of the exhaustion of defilements, uprooting the source of unwholesome dharmas. This is why it is the supreme. At the time, the Brahmana let out of sight of admiration. He bowed his head respectfully, crossed his hands in reverence, snapped his finger, and smiled gently. Then he turned and departed along the path. When the Bhagwan reached Varanasi, the five bhikshus saw him approaching and conspired. Here comes the Shramana Gautama. His practice failed, his mind unsteady. Let's neither greet him, offer seats, nor speak to him. Then the five spoke this verse: This man deserves no honor, nor should we look upon him. No welcome shall we offer, nor provide him any seat. After reciting, they fell silent as the Bhagwan approached. Despite their resolution, they instinctively rose, some preparing a seat, others fetching water. The Bhagwan sat in thought. These foolish men cannot maintain their resolve. When they addressed him familiarly as friend, he corrected them. Do not address the Anuttara Samyak Sambuddha one so casually. I have attained super enlightenment and the Amrita. Be attentive and listen to my Dharma teaching. At that time, the five bhikshus said to the Bhagwan, Gautama, even during your former time of extreme austerities, you were unable to attain the noble Adhyatmika Dharma. How much less now when your mind appears relaxed and indulgent? How can you claim you have attained the Marga? The Bhagwan responded. Have you ever known me to speak falsely? They replied, Never, Gautama. The Bhagwan declared, The Tathagata, the Samyak Sambuddha, has attained the Amrita. All of you, focus your mind and listen to my teaching. Then the Bhagwan thought, Now I am capable of taming these five. The Bhagwan addressed the five bhikshus. You should know there are these four noble truths. What are the four? The truth of suffering, the truth of the origin of suffering, the truth of cessation of suffering, and the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. What is the truth of suffering? Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, greed, despair are suffering. Association with the dislike is suffering. Separation from the loved is suffering. Not getting what one desires is suffering. In brief, these five aggregates, subjects to clinging, are suffering. This is called the truth of suffering. What is the truth of the origin of suffering? It is carving that leads to renewed existence, accompanied by delight and lust, seeking pleasure here and there. That is, craving for sensual pleasure, craving for existence, and craving for non existence. This is called the truth of the origin of suffering. What is the truth of the cessation of suffering? It is the complete fading away and cessation of the same craving, giving it up and relinquishing it, being liberated from it and detached from it. This is called the truth of the cessation of suffering. What is the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering? It is the noble eightfold path, namely right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This is called the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. Furthermore, O five bhikshus, this dharma of the four noble truth, as of the truth of suffering, from hearing it for the first time, there arises vision, knowledge, insight, awakening, radiance, and wisdom. These had not arisen before hearing this dharma. Moreover, the truth of suffering is real, satya, certain, niyata, not false, avidya, not mistaken, aviparita, unchanging, avya, avyabhikarin, because it is spoken by the Bhagwan. Therefore, it is called the truth of suffering. As for the truth of origin of suffering, upon hearing it for the first time, then arises vision, knowledge, insight, awakening, radiance, and wisdom. These two had not arisen prior to hearing the Dharma. Moreover, the truth of origin of suffering is real, certain, not false, not mistaken, unchanging. Because it is spoken by the Bhagwan, therefore it is called the truth of origin of suffering. The truth of cessation of suffering, upon hearing it for the first time, these arises vision, knowledge, insight, awakening, radiance, and wisdom. These two had not arisen prior hearing to the Dharma. Moreover, the truth of cessation of suffering is real, certain, not false, not mistaken, unchanging, because it is spoken by the Bhagwan. Therefore, it is called the truth of cessation of suffering. The truth of the path leading out of suffering. Upon hearing it for the first time, these arises vision, knowledge, insight, awakening, radiance, and wisdom. These two had not arisen prior to hearing the Dharma. Moreover, the truth of the path leading out of suffering is real, certain, not false, not mistaken, unchanging, because it is spoken by the Bhagwan. Therefore, it is called the truth of the path leading out of the suffering. O five bhikshus, you should know these four noble truths must be understood through these through the three turnings and 12 aspects. If one does not know them as they truly are, then one does not attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Because I have fully analyzed these four noble truths with the three turnings and 12 aspects, I have attained, I have known them exactly as they are. Therefore, I have attained Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, unsurpassed, true, and perfect awakening. As this dharma was being taught, the dust and defilements of Antara Kundinya were completely eradicated, and he attained the pure dharma I. The Bhagwan then asked Kundinya, have you realized the dharma? Have you attained the dharma? Kundinya replied, indeed, Bhagwan, I have attained and realized the dharma. At the time, the Bhumi Devata, hearing this word, proclaimed, today the Tathagata has turned the wheel of dharma in Varanasi, which neither devas, humans, maras, nor any beings can turn. Anatta Kundaniya has attained the nectar of dharma. The Chatur Maharaja Kaikas heard this proclamation from the Bhumi Devata and announced, Anatta Kundaniya has attained the dharma nectar. The message ascended through all heavenly realms, from the Trastrimsha gods to the Yamsa, to Sitas, and even Brahma realms, proclaiming the Tathagata has turned the Anuttara Dharma wheel in Varanasi. Thus he became known as Kundiniya, the knower. The Bhagwan instructed the five bhikshus, two shall remain for teaching, while three beg alms. Share all food among six. Then three shall stay for teaching, while two beg for alms. Through this training, they realize the deathless nirvana beyond birth, sickness, aging, and death. All five became arhants, making five arhants in the Tri Sahasra Mahasahasra Lokdhatu, with the Buddha as the sixth. The Bhagwan then said, go forth together for alms, never alone. Now I shall go to Uravela village to teach those ready for liberation. Then the Bhagwan went to Uruvela village. At that time, by the Niranjana river, dwelt the Shramana Kashyapa, master of astronomy, geography, and the worldly knowledge, who could count every leaf on trees. He taught 500 disciples daily. Near Kashyap's dwelling was a stone carving inhabited by a enormous Naga. The Bhagwan approached Kashyapa and requested, I wish to stay one night in that stone cave if you permit. Kashyapa replied, I would not refuse, but a deadly Naga dwells there. It may harm you. The Bhagwan assured, Fear not, Kashyapa, the Naga cannot harm me. Please consent to my staying one night. Kashyapa replied, If you wish, you may stay as you please. The Bhagwan entered the stone cave, arranged his seat, and sat in full lotus posture with upright body and concentrated mind. When the venomous Naga saw the Bhagwan, it spewed fiery poison. The Bhagwan first entered the meditation on loving kindness, then emerged to enter the blazing light, Samadhi. Thus the Naga's flame and the Buddha's radiance illuminated the cave simultaneously. Kashyapa, observing the stars at night, saw the cave ablaze and told his disciples, The noble looking Shramana Gautama has been killed by the Naga, just as a warn. Quick, bring water pots and ladder to save him. He then ordered his 500 disciples to attempt a rescue. Though Kashyapa's disciples poured water and raised ladders, the flames persisted by the Tathagata's power. As the Bhagwan radiated loving kindness, the Naga's fury subsided. Trembling with fear, it dashed about the cave, seeking escape, then finally took refuge in Buddha's arms bowl. The Bhagwan gently stroked the Naga with his right hand and spoke these words. Rare is Naga birth among Nagas, nourishing no harm towards the harmless. Though countless kalpas you have missed Buddhas, bound by fiery hatred venom, turn virtuous heart to the Tathagata, cast off this poison, rise to heaven. So this is EA 24.5.1.
Yeah, this is a very long sutra, and we are very fortunate to read this sutra. This is the first ever sutra after enlightenment has expounded by the Tathagat,
Yeah.
by Bhagwan, and in Pali it is called Dhammachakra Pravartan Sutta. So this is famous Dhammachakra Pravartan Sutta. Many people recite this sutra, and you know uh, when we get something really very good, the human tendency is like we want to share it with others because the pain we have gone through it and the solution we have discovered, we want to share, and we at the time we remember our associated people with whom we want to share this secret. So Buddha is like this only. Now he has known the dharma. Now he has attained the Anuttar Samyak Sambodhi. He wants to share this dharma, and he is looking after, and he looks for his first guru, Alar Kalama. And the second one is Udraka Ramaputra. So, but both unfortunately passed away just one night before. But Bhagwan is feeling really very sorry for them. Now I have discovered, and they were really very near to find that full liberation and the full freedom, but they just missed out just like we missed the train or the flight with just 5 minutes delay or something like that. So now he's turning back, and he because Bhagwan has practiced extreme austerities with the Jain disciples. The Gantis here, these were the five sages. Now he remembers that because they were also taking and striving and taking lots of efforts to find a solution to seek for the moksha, the full liberation. So he remembers that these are currently dwelling in Rishipadana Mrugadaya. When it comes to Mrugadaya, we must understand Mruga means deer, and Daya means the dwelling place for the deers. So now this is the garden where there is Abhaya. Abhaya means there is no fear. Fear for fe- fear to cause any harm. to deer because they are well protected, so they can roam freely. So in that Mrugadaya, the five sages were dwelling. Now he is proclaiming and making that lines roar. Buddha is saying that because I have cut the root and the seed of the delusion, I know I am Anuttar. I have achieved the Anuttar Samyak Sambodhi. Uh, and when he was, crossing that path from the across the bank side of the Niranjana river, he come across the Upavika. Upavika is again the Niganti naked ascetic who just inquired who are you and who is your master and teacher. And now Buddha is proclaiming that I have become an arhat and I don't have any acharya. So to take and to make such a statement, it takes utter confidence and trust and faith. Now, because he has realized the truths which are expounded, four noble truths, because he know what is dukkha, because he know what are the suffering, associating with the likable person and disassociating with them will cause the pain. Also, associating with a dislikable person also will cause the pain and the suffering. So, then second noble truth we talk about is dukkha samudaya, because there is a reason for, there are various reasons to cause the suffering. And third one is dukkha nirodha. Means dukkha nirodha means there is a solution. We acknowledge that there is a suffering. It begins with that four noble truths, the Arya Satya. So there is a dukkha. Second one is there is a dukkha samudaya. There is a reason. There are many reasons for causing that suffering and that discomfort and pain. Third one is dukkha nirodha. So we are saying, okay, uh, we are acknowledging that, but there is a solution also. So there is mark, or we can get out of this problem of suffering and the pain. Then fourth one is the dukkha nirodha gamini patipada, means there is a way and there is a path which we call Arya Shtangik Marga, the noble eightfold path of taking initiating from having that right perception till the end of having that right samadhi. Also, when we are talking about suffering, the main reason for that is craving, because we have desire, we want certain things. When this four noble truth has been expounded, the one disciple, one sage from this called as Anatta, Anatta Kondinya. He, just after hearing these four noble truths and getting the way, he knew, he connected the dots, like he has solved the puzzle. And his
Yeah,
eyes, by looking just into his eyes, Buddha realized that, oh, he got this, what I mean to say. He is the realized one. He achieved that. And now he is fully free. And he has attained the moksha. So that was that. Now, after having these five sages, understand, and another one Bharadwaj also there, and rest of the five, Baddiya was also there. So, but then the major movement start in Indian ancient tradition was the Kashyapa, because when we say Kashyapa, they are like Agni, fire worshippers. And there were three main groups of the Kashyapa Bandhus, who were mostly known as, having that totis on their head and wearing that orange ropes around themselves, and they are fire worshippers. Now, here
okay.
Buddha is skillfully, because he know the threat, but he wants to mm, uh, and like propagate the dharma, and he chose to stay in that hut, which he knew there was a threat. But with his loving, the two things he applied here with the naga, venomous snake. First one was the maitri, the loving kindness, and second one was, no samadhi. So here samadhi means when we practice maitri, there is no fear. So giant snake also didn't cause any fear. Then second one is samadhi. Samadhi means, in simple way, we are understanding here is not uh, reacting. So we are like having that stability. So so that we are allowing that snake, not to cause any harm also, and we are making giving that space also. So we can apply these two things in case of, fear, or when we see there is opposing force very strong in front of you. So that's how, the dhamma got propagated at that time. I'm really feeling very fortunate to study this sutra with you, Herman, today, because this was the first discourse expounded
Yes.
by the Buddha. Rest of the
After,
series we will continue in next session, I guess.
yes, yes. We'll take any questions if we have any
Yeah.
online questions. Okay. So I think no online questions. Okay. So the rest of the sutra we will continue on our next Sunday Shunya talk. So any closing summary you would like to add, Ruchama?
Uh, just we need to have these two things in our mind, that everything is changeable.
Yeah.
So, but if we concentrate our mind on practice of this Arya Ashtangik Marga Eightfold Path, definitely one day we will be fully liberated. So that is the major takeaway from this sutra, in one line. If we can't, we can summarize it. Herman.
Yeah. Okay. Beautifully summarized. So thank you so much for taking out the time so that we can do this online session. Since you're busy with Lonavala retreat as well, but thank you so much for taking out the time. So until next time, we will see you guys on Saturday morning, 8:30 a.m. for Nikaya's Hindi session. So until next time, bye bye. Take care.
Thank you for reading. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.